The Department of Education. Region 11. Division of Davao de Oro.
Let us open our hearts to the Lord and pray. We thank you for this new day, Lord. We came to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this 3-day online seminar workshop for our untrained learning resource evaluators and writers. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion. Allow us to grow closer as a group and nurture our bonds. Fill us with your grace, Lord God, as we make decisions, and continue to remind us that all that we do here today, all that we accomplish is for the pursuit of truth, for the greater glory of you, and for the service of humanity. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فقال ربكم ادعوني أستجب لكم آمين يا رب العالمين الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين اللهم اجمع شامل المسلمين وكريستيان والأمة في مدينة دباو وسلم دائما مجتمعنا هذا بالسلم والأمن والتقدم في بلدنا هذا آمين يا رب العالمين ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على خير خلقه سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين يا رب العالمين.
Davao de Oro, yutang saan, may bulawang may paglubad. Yuta mong nagmadagayaon, mga anak mong mahigugmaon. Ipalikon sa bayanihan, iumo sa panag-iusap. Sabi mo ako'y mapiyak at sa pagkilabang may kalambuan. Davao de Oro, bahandi mo nagasiglang, di ka sa magbubuhay. Davao de Oro, tumuran sa paglaho. Sa dawawan yung mauswago, ang kaanyag mong Magkabibihan, talag sa una sa kahitasan, kabukira sa lumaki alimahan, bunga sa kalagayan. May oro yutang saan, may gulawang may paglubad, yuta mong nagmadagayaon, mga anak kong mahigugmaon. Ipalikon sa bayanihan, iumol sa panaghimusa, sa tinuang may mapeya at sa pagpinabangay may kalampuan. Labang Oro, kanimo nagamitan among kabulahanan. Labang Oro, mapulawanong paraiso, sa naghiusang labawen yun. Ang kaanyang magkabibihan, talag sa onggas sa kahitasan, kabukirang sa lumagi alimahan, bunga sa kalagayan. Labang Oro, kanimo nagamitan among kabulahanan. Labang Oro, mapulawanong paraiso, sa naghiusang labawen yun. Labang Oro, dagat tuyutan, muling bulawan. Labang Oro, dagat tuyutan, muling bulawan.
Despite the overwhelming consequences of the pandemic, this global crisis has also been an extraordinary time for learning. We are learning how adaptable and resilient educational systems, policymakers, teachers, students, and families can be. True to that, the pandemic has recalibrated how we divide time between teaching, engaging with students, and doing administrative tasks. To avert the damage brought by the coronavirus pandemic to our educational system, DepEd has always been aggressive in its educational response through coping to reduce learning loss, managing continuity to promote learning recovery, and looking for opportunities amidst the pandemic to improve and accelerate, making our educational system stronger and more equitable than it was before. This 3-day virtual training is indeed one of the many opportunities to build back better, because this would help us not only cope through the crisis, but also become better equipped with the skills to succeed in the wake of it. Greetings to all the participants in this 3-day online seminar workshop for the untrained learning resource writers and learning resource evaluators across learning areas on LR processes. My respect to our school's division superintendent, Ma'am Euphemia T. Gamutin Seso 5, our assistant schools division superintendent, Dr. Romel Handayan, our chief in the Curriculum Implementation Division and LR Manager, Dr. Arlene B. Lim. Our chief in the School Governance and Operations Division, Dr. Ruben J. Riponte. To all our education program supervisors, public schools district supervisors, school heads, and teachers, a blissful and blessed morning to one and all. There are actually two ways in which you can watch us today. The identified participants are here with us in our Zoom meeting link. However, we can also be viewed online via FB live streaming in our Facebook page. That is DepEd Davao de Oro TV Escuela. I would like to believe that everyone is already very eager to get our virtual training started. What better way to do that than to heed the welcome address of one of the pillars of DepEd Region 11, the Education Program Supervisor and Learning Resource Management Section Manager of Region 11, Dr. Annalisa C. Almazan.
Ayan, hello. Good morning sa lahat. My respect to SDS Gamutin, ASDS Romel Handayan, and of course your CID Chief and the LR Manager of Davao de Oro, Chief Arlen William. Hi, Chief. And of course, I will pay respect to all the facilitators, all the speakers of this 3-day virtual training. Ayan, nabasa ko sila si Sir Rex at saka si Sir Archie and the rest of the team. And of course, the team of the LR in Davao de Oro, Ma'am Leia and Ma'am Cherry, and the attendees, the writers, and the evaluators, and those teachers who are watching this this 3-day virtual training via YouTube and FB Live. Mayong buntag sa tanan. So today marks a remarkable day for all of you because this will enhance your skill in writing and in evaluating the material, as we consider that teaching materials come in many shapes and sizes, but they all have in common the ability to support learning. So the purpose and importance of teaching and learning materials is to make lessons interesting, learning easy, and enable teachers to easily express concepts. So that is why it would be a tandem between the writer and the evaluator, because the writer, of course, will develop the material, and at the same time, the evaluator will quality assure the material, ensuring that this particular learning material is of the standards of the LR, and of course, complying all the requirements, especially on the social conduct guidelines and the copyright management. So I know that within the 3 days, you will be reoriented of what are those guidelines and what are those social conduct guidelines and the different mechanics in writing and in evaluating the learning resources. So we all believe that learning materials can significantly increase learners' achievement by supporting learning. So ika nga, the learning resources are the blood of the curriculum. Without these learning resources, the curriculum will become not useless, but of course, they really need the aid of these learning resources. So malaki talaga ang role ng learning resources when it comes to the teaching and learning delivery. And of course, in the different aspects, in the different modalities. So thank you so much. My salute to the DepEd Davao de Oro for coming up with this activity, and of course to Chief Arlene for initiating and for leading the team. Thank you so much, Chief, for this. And once again, congratulations and God bless everyone.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Annalisa. Indeed, the learning resources serve as the blood of the curriculum. Hence, your role as learning evaluators and learning resource writers are really indeed important. So to arm us with the right motivation and remind us of our indispensable role, especially in ensuring that learning continues amidst the challenges brought by the pandemic, this time, let us listen to the message of our Schools Division Superintendent, Ma'am Euphemia T. Gamutin, CESO 5.
Thank you very much. To the Education Program Supervisor of the region in charge of materials development and learning resources, Ms. Annalisa Almazan. To our Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Romel Handayan. To the Chief of Curriculum Implementation Division, Dr. Arlen Lim. To the school heads who are around, our district heads, our education program supervisors of the division. To all the participants, good morning. I wish to convey my heartfelt gratitude for everything that has been done in the preparations for this activity. I know there had been a lot of challenges, and especially this morning, you were also hurling the difficulties in connectivity, but I would like to really appreciate the resiliency because you gracefully also bounced back after being connected. It is a problem when we have virtual meetings, but with almost 2 years experiencing the difficulties of connectivity, I guess you have also got used to it. For this 3-day package of learning activities, the division office is looking forward to seeing each one of you honed in terms of materials development and inclusive of quality assuring your products. It is also expected that when we know how to write and prepare and develop materials, we also should know how to quality assure our work so that we would also be able to provide products that we can be proud of. There are, of course, expected, again, challenges along the way, but what we hear always is practice makes perfect. But that's not enough. Desiring really perfection in what you do matters, because it is also true that how we look at ourselves matters. So if we consider ourselves as capable of doing, let us not also stop at just looking at ourselves as capable of doing, but let us also desire to continuously raise the bar of excellence in everything that we do, however simple or complicated or sophisticated. To Dr. Lim, thank you very much for spearheading this activity and really putting the right foot forward. To all the participants, remember that we always aspire that our work will not only provide opportunities for us individually, but it would really extend, or through our works, through our products, we extend our services to our clientele, especially the children. And I hope also that what you learn from these 3 days will not stop within you or in yourselves. You can also share your learning to others so that we can continue to develop people. Because like leaders, teachers also come and go. Leaders in the classroom come and go. And leaders in schools come and go. So we need to develop people so that there would always be people who can take over or support us in everything that we do. Building leaders is also an achievement for anyone and for the leaders who also build leaders. To everyone, congratulations, because I am certain that this 3-day activity would be a success. Again, thank you very much and congratulations.
The ability to quality assure our works allow us to be able to produce products that we can be proud of. Desiring perfection in what you do matters. Hence, to the participants of this training, you are challenged to raise the bar and autograph your work with excellence. Thank you very much, SDS Gamutin. At this juncture, allow me to acknowledge the participants of our 3-day virtual training. Once your district is called, please click on the heart reaction for you to be recognized. Of course, this training goes beyond the Zoom meeting link as mentioned. We can also be viewed via FB Live or through our official YouTube channel. So I am sending my regards to all our colleagues in SDO Davao de Oro. Hello, teachers. We'd love to hear from you. So just leave your comments and greetings in the comment section and let your virtual presence be felt. Let us start off with the participants. I would like to request our technical to present to us the list of districts that are with us in our training. In a while, we will be projected on screen with the names of the different participating districts. While waiting for that, today we will be really filled with different inputs coming from our speakers. So you better find a comfortable area for you to be able to digest the things that they will be sharing today. So let's start off with the participants coming from Moncayo West. Hello, teachers from Moncayo West. I hope that you are all well today. We also have the participants coming from Maragusan East. Hello, hello, teachers. I hope that your signal are stable and fast. We also have participants coming from Maragusan West. Also, teachers coming from Monte Vista District. Good morning to all our teachers from Monte Vista District. We also have from New Bataan District, Laak North, and we also have the participants coming from Laak South. Of course, the teachers coming from Mabini District. And teachers coming from Mako North District. Special greetings to all the teachers of AOSR. We also have the participants coming from Mako South District. Then we also have our participants from Mawab. Hello, teachers. Good morning. We also have our both the identified participants and those who are watching us from FB Live, teachers from Nabunturan East. Good morning to everyone. Teachers coming from Nabunturan West. We also have our participants coming from Pantukan North. And the participants coming from Pantukan South. Have we called everyone already? I believe we have also participants coming from Compostela East. Have we called the participants coming from Compostela East? We also have participants coming from Compostela West. I think we were able to mention all the districts already, no? Welcome to all the participants and to all the teachers who are watching us via Facebook Live and as well as in our YouTube official channel. We hope, again, that all of you are safe and that all of you are comfortable wherever you are situated. Also, crossing our fingers for that stable, reliable, and fast internet connection. This time, let us get to know the persons tasked to deliver the goods for this virtual training. Allow me to present our speakers for this 3-day virtual training. First up is no other than Dr. Arlene B. Lim, our CID Chief and LR Manager. Another equally competent speaker, especially in LR matters, is Sir Rex Castor, Master Teacher 1. And of course, completing the circle of brilliant speakers is Dr. Archie Anyo, Head Teacher 1 in TIC of Tagugpo National High School. You will get to know more of them and about their respective topics as we progress with our training. So, should you have questions relative to their topic, please bring it to our attention by typing it in our comment or chat box. We shall attend to that during our open forum. Also, during the open forum, you can make use of the raise hand icon so that we can acknowledge you and for you to personally address your query to our speakers. Meanwhile, for your concerns, that of course, excluding financial and matters of the heart, you can keep in touch with Ma'am Cherry, Ma'am Leia, Ma'am Marilu Saavedra, Sir Ross De Los Santos, Sir Michael Eric Dandan, Ma'am Shella May Dandan, and Sir Raven Scar Igloria, and of course, yours truly, the technical working group. So these are your go-to persons for the learning materials, the attendance links, and the like for the entire duration of our training. So I guess we are now ready for the training proper. I am confident that majority would agree if I say that today's educational milieu really proved that support for local development and or production of learning materials by the schools division of Davao de Oro via the LRMDS is indeed vital. This is the reason why this training relative to LR processes has been conducted not only for the identified untrained LR evaluators and writers, but to a great number of teachers in the division in support of the LRMDS's mandate of increased distribution and access to learning, teaching, and professional development resources across different levels of the Department of Education. With that, let us get started with our very
Recording in
first topic,
progress.
which revolves around the concept of ensuring that all resources available are of high quality and educational value. The speaker who would discuss to us the meat of the matter is indeed the mother of the entire Curriculum Implementation Division and LRMDS of SDO Davao de Oro. A woman who needs no elaborate introduction as her name and works resonate in the department. My dear colleagues, to talk about the Learning Resource Standard and Specifications, our CID Chief and LR Manager, Dr. Arlene B. Lim.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We had the LC. Thank you so much for that generous introduction. My gold greetings to, of course, our ever supportive Schools Division Superintendent, Ma'am Euphemia Tigamutin, and to our Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Sir Romel Andayan. I would like to greet also my partner, the Division Office, ang sulti niya pirmi, ano siya, ang akong partner sa Pikas Lawak, of course, my SGOD Chief, Sir Benry Ponte, and to all the education program supervisors who are supporting us in this webinar, and to all the district heads, the PSDSS, and the district coordinating principals, and to the TWG, the bloodline of this training, and of course the ever supportive partners and the resource speakers. And good morning, everyone. I am so happy to see familiar faces in the platform. Some are even old or trained, not old per se, but the formerly trained in LR matters or processes. Na masaya ako, nakita ako na kahit na kayo ay trained, andito pa rin kayo sa training and platforms. And of course, this training is really intended for the untrained teachers on LR processes across learning areas. However, we really intend to maximize the participation of all teachers because this is our dream in the LRMDS section that all teachers must be trained or are to be trained on LR processes because all of you are writers, or there is a need for you to write your own contextualized materials. So what I am saying is, supposedly before the pandemic, we really plan to go to each district to share to you the LR processes and the quality assurance procedures of how are we going to make our learning resources, the locally developed materials, really pass the quality assurance standards. But then, due to the pandemic, we're not able to do it. But alam nyo, talagang God is so good that despite of the challenges, we remain resilient to face those challenges. And of course, we come up to this online interaction as our intervention to reach our goal. The basic education learning continuity plan is really on the go, and it is really stated in our plan that we need to capacitate all teachers in doing or in making the or developing learning resources. So talagang yun ang aming goal, and thanks God that despite and in spite all the challenges na pwede na nating gawin ang training virtually. And in fact, World Wide Web pa ang pwede maka-witness ng ating training. I would like to acknowledge also the support of my regional LR manager in the region, Ma'am Annalisa Almazan, who has been very supportive to all the endeavors of Davao de Oro LRMDS. And talagang honored ako sa kanyang presence today. So that's it, yung ating plano, ang ating goal ng LRMDS section of Davao de Oro is to train all teachers. Kaya sinabi ko sa ating TWG to help us that to maximize the participation of the teachers. Because when we will be linked to FB Live and YouTube channel of PB Eskwela, we can go back or review our training anytime or yung mga in our vacant times, so that whenever you want to develop or to create your own instructional materials, learning resources to that effect, then you would also look into the quality assurance standards set by our Department of Education. So you see, there are so many controversy with the SLMs that we are developing. And in fact, some of them are not from the Department of Education, but yet all the blame was really parang taken to us, no? O binigay sa atin, given to us na DepEd, anong nangyari sa module na ito? And then there are even memes in the FB that parang ginawa nilang kakatatawanan ang ating mga modules. So for me, personally, as the LR manager, I am saddened by all those posts and all those social media bashing. But we cannot also stop them because this is a free country and they have also the right to express. Kaya lang parang sumubra na din yung iba. So in order for us not to be the victim of that memes and that social media bashing and other platform bashing, pointing to us as the erroneous agency, so we will try our best to be capacitated with the LR standards and of course the LR processes, and what are the learning resources that we can produce or we can develop in our end. So our presentations with two resource speakers whom will be introduced formally later are presentations that we already given to the trainings in LRMDS. So we will just revisiting them. So for those who are trained, for those who are, kasi yung mga writers, no, nakita natin yung mga writers natin, they even experience na talagang tedious pala ang evaluation. And napakaraming sleepless nights na ginawa ang mga writers natin, no, para lang papasa sa quality assurance standards. So may idea na sila kung ano-ano ang titingnan, kung ano ang mga errors, kung ano ang mga suggestions ng respective evaluators. So, i-discuss naman yan ng ating mga speakers later. So, I would be focusing my discussion on the learning resource specifications and yung social content guidelines. So, in the process of the LR, sana balikan pa natin yung ano yung framework ng LR, but then since we are operating naman functionally, so parang meron na yata tayong idea, tayong lahat ay may idea na that whenever we develop or create a manuscript or our learning resources, dadaan talaga siya sa processes ng quality assurance. Tapos merong mga revisions until such time na makuha mo na talaga yung passing rate ng inyong LR, saka pa siya ma-recognize as official LRs and you as the official writers. So of course, as the official writers, pwede na din ninyong magamit siya in your promotion. So kaya lang, you need to go through the processes. Mahirap siya, pero at the very end, you will see that your materials are even better, tapos or best pa, no? And then you will be proud of yourself as writer na talagang nagawa mo yun. Parang hindi ka makapaniwala na ito na pala ang aking materials. So the names of the evaluators are just written in your materials, but you will be recognized as writers. So even that you are an untrained learning resource evaluators and writers, but then you will be having the same input in our matrix kasi pwede kayong pwedeng si writer maging evaluator, si evaluator maging writer. So ganun ang ating trend. So both can function, the two tasks or job in the LRMDS system. So magandang buhay sa ating lahat, and I will not now be presenting to you my slides para to start with our topics. By the way, Dr. Elsie will give you the mechanics later on how are we going to submit our output. Kasi kahit na hindi kayo nakapasok sa platform natin in the Zoom link and nakapasok kayo doon sa ating isang room ng Zoom as the panelists or as the participants, then or nasa FB live lang kayo kaya hindi na kayo na-accommodate or nasa YouTube live kayo, it's okay po. Kasi as long as you'll be able to submit your output to us, and then we'll be able to check your output as to content and validity, you will be receiving your certificate of participation. So be sure to fill in the registration link and the attendance sheet and all the required link for us to complete this training. So I am expecting, of course, everyone who are attending this training na kung sino man yung kayo ay na-train na naman sa LR evaluation and write shafting, of course, pag may ma-develop ang inyong school o mga kasamahang teachers na ma-develop ninyo yung inyong mga materials, pwede na kayo na lang din ang mag-internal evaluation sa inyong mga materials. So after passing the internal evaluation, easy na lang na i-proceed siya sa ating division or another set of evaluation. So parang ganun ang aking goal na sana mas marami na tayong evaluator, mas marami na tayong writers. So kung whatever the laxity or the gaps in our learning resources, we can easily make our very own, our contextualized LRs, because we are already equipped with the processes and the standards of LRMDS. So sometimes kasi hindi natin alam na ganito pala, pwede pala makasulat tayo ng ganitong materials. So parang nakapokus tayo na SLMs lang talaga ang pwede natin gawin. So I will now be giving to you now all the specifications of LRs for you to ground yourself kung saan ang gusto ninyong isusulat. So I am expecting that after this training, marami sa atin or all of us who are viewing this webinar will be able to craft or draft or develop your very own learning resources contextualized to your learners' capacity and of course to your learners' need. Okay, so I will now share to you my So, nakita na ba? May I check kung nakita na ang ating slide? May I hear from our TWG?
Yes,
Or
ma'am.
any of the participants? Okay, thank you, Els. Okay, so I am using the materials from the Bureau of Learning Resources, which is the in charge of our Bureau of the Department of Education. So we will now discuss the technical specification of text-based learning resources and what are those specifications that we need to consider in the preparation of each learning resource. Okay, so in our presentation, we would be able to discuss the standards and guidelines on page designing, the standards and guidelines in dealing with artworks used in LRs. And these are also the topics to be discussed by our two competent resource speakers later. Pero daadaanan ko lang siya kasi part yan siya ng specifications. So, for the text-based learning resources, pag sinabi nating text-based, yung final output niya ay text or printed. No? Pag sinabi nating non-text-based, yun po yung mga learning resources na manipulatives or something that can be touched or can be manipulated by our learners. So anything that we use as learning resources or aid to learning in our teaching learning activities, they are considered learning resources and they are grouped to text-based and non-text-based. So this time, we will focus on the text-based. But, you can still develop also non-text-based materials, especially for our special education classes implementation, because they need that modified non-text-based materials for them to teach our special children. Now, first things first muna tayo, let us discuss the text-based learning resources. So, one by one, i-discuss natin po ito, and then we will be talking about the learner's materials or the textbooks, the most popular learning resource that we have as teachers, and then the teacher's manual and the teacher's guide, the reader, the storybooks, strategic intervention material, activity sheets or worksheet, then workbook, modules, contextualization matrix, the detailed lesson plan, the training and development resource. So the first LR, the most popular LRs that we have is the learner's material or the textbooks. So napakaraming textbook na actually na issue sa atin, but due to the pandemic, parang na set aside sila and we are focused on the SLMs. However, with our division memorandum that in the absence of the SLMs, we can utilize textbooks. So pwede na natin yan siyang i-distribute. I'm sorry for my segues kasi alam ko na some of the memorandum do not reach some of our schools and even you as teachers, parang hindi ninyo mababasa lahat na memorandum. So magsisegue talaga ako sa yung mga topics na pwede kong i-insert yung information dissemination. Well, for the learner's materials, as I've said, our most popular na weapon sa ating mga classroom. So, ano yung mga elements ng textbooks? So, of course, my title page, copyright page, the table of contents, instruction to learners and users, and in this instruction to learners or users, this discusses the general description of subject area, content, and features. And of course, my pre-assessment and post-assessment per topic and per quarter, the content and concept development and learning areas. So, binigay din natin ito kasi pwede naman kayong gagawa din ng textbook, no? Kung talagang meron pa kayong time at talagang gustong-gusto niyo itong gawin, you can really develop or craft the learners materials or the textbooks for our learners. Ganun. So maging ambisyoso tayo, pwede po yan. So still under the element of textbooks, merong formative assessment, generalization, assessment formative and summative, the remediation and enrichment activities, reflection, for the self-monitoring and self-assessment, the glossary, reference, and bibliography. So parang ito yung elements or the parts of the textbooks. So if you're going to write a textbooks, dapat meron talaga itong kompleto na elements ang iyong textbooks na isusulat. So another text-based learning resource for us to develop is the reader. Okay, so ano yung mga specifications ng isang reader? So again, lahat ng textbooks, of course, or lahat ng mga LRs ay meron talagang cover page, my title page, copyright page, the table of contents, introduction overview, or preface, readings, guide questions, activities, salient points of the readings, recommended readings, glossary, and references. So, hindi masyadong familiar sa atin ang reader, but you know, for English or for Filipino or for mother tongue subjects, or even science subjects or mathematics, you can, or any subjects actually, you can have that compilation of readings, readings, and then you develop that and you compile that, of course, with proper referencing, and you will have this element na meron tayong cover page, my title page, copyright page, and all. So, madali din itong reader na i-develop. Kaya lang, wala pa ako so far in my 6 years as LR manager, wala pa kaming na quality assure na reader. So, sa Araling Panlipunan, pwede ka din maka-develop ng isang reader. Kasi naman, hindi naman ibig sabihin na sa reader, ikaw talaga yung magsusulat sa mga readings. You can have the clips of the reading materials or yung mga topics na gusto mong gawan ng mga parang pwede na mong ipa-develop yung mga not only the comprehension, but you can also have that history, your mga information dissemination ng science topics. So pwede mo din yan. Kaya dapat lang din na yung mga references at i-follow na lang natin yung guidelines din sa copyright at saka yung sa mga other LR standards. So, pero pwede itong reader na magawan din ninyo ng LR ang reader. So, kung halimbawa, pending yan sa inyong grade level, of course, mag-follow din tayo sa standards ng yung the earlier the age, meron din tayong standards niyan. Later, this will be discussed in the remaining slides. Okay, so continue. The storybooks, this is very popular to us, especially to kindergarten learners, and of course to grade 1 to grade 3. Parang gumagamit pa tayo ng storybooks. So big and small. So we can develop our very own storybooks with original stories and your very own story contextualized to your locality. You can develop such kind of LRs, and the elements are as follows. So may it be a big or a small book, we can have the same elements. Okay, itong big books are designed really for kindergarten, grade 1 to grade 2. And the small books, paano ba natin siya makonsider na big book? So, yung A3, buong A3 na size ng bond paper, yun ang size ng storybooks. So, pag i-divide mo yung isang buong A3, magiging A4 na yon, yung yung A4. So, pag A4 na siya, pwede na siya makonsider na lap book, yung pwede lang natin mabasa. So, lap book yun. Tapos, pag i-divide mo pa yung A4, na or half ng A4, so small book na yun. Consider na yun as small book. So may it be a big or a small or a lap book, so pwede the same pa din ang element. So bakit merong ganon na big and small and lap book? So kasi yung ating mga learners ay different grade level din sila. So the younger the user, the bigger the book. Parang ganon po siya mga fellow teachers, na kung maliit pa or very early age pa yung ating mga learners, so big ang ating gagamitin. Pero pwede tayo makagawa pa din ng storybooks para sa ating mga grade 11 and grade 12. And you can use the small book. So kasi baka meron tayong misconception na ang storybooks ay para lang sa mga kindergarten or the K-stage 1 lang ang storybooks. No, it's not. Because we can still develop or craft a storybook, or we can write a storybooks and with our grade 11, grade 10, or high school or secondary level students. So pwede natin yan siyang gawan. So yung mga English teacher na mahilig magsulat, you can have this. And of course, even the storybooks, LRs or yung mga textbooks na ginamit natin must be subjective to quality assurance. So, ganun. So, pareho ang lahat ng treatment sa lahat ng text-based LRs. So, for the storybooks, you will have your cover page, the title page, the copyright page, the preface, the main body, the guide questions, translation, and back cover. Okay, so yun ang elements or parts ng storybooks. May it be a big, small, or a lap book. By the way, yung sa ating mga participants, we are creating a drive for our presentation, and you can access the drive. We will just give you after the training. We will just give you so that you can revisit our presentation from time to time when you're going to write, and then you can base your output, your manuscript to the elements that we discussed today. Okay. Next, the strategic intervention material. So this learning resource is very popular to the mathematics and science na subject, but it's not that point lang ang ating isipin, kasi ang strategic intervention material can be made across learning areas. So kahit na hindi science at hindi mathematics ang iyong subject area, you can still write a strategic intervention material, or you can develop a strategic intervention materials in your particular subject, because this SIM is intended for the underachievement or less, yung parang least learned competencies ng ating mga bata. So this is a supplementary material by the word itself, intervention. So halimbawa, may mga competencies na difficult really for our learners, then you are going to have the strategic intervention materials wherein you discuss such competencies by developing or creating activities, and parang mga cards na gamitin mo doon para ma-in-depth yung pagtuturo o pag-learn ng ating mga learners. So again, this is not solely for science and mathematics only, but it is designed also for other subject areas, or those subject areas or competencies which are difficult for our learners. So parang ito yung gagawin natin. So meron na din kaming na evaluate na mga strategic intervention materials. So I am encouraging all our teachers, both the evaluators and the writers, because I'm considering you all as writers, and at the same time, after the end of this training, you are considered evaluators. Okay? So, for SIM, meron din tayo, ito yung mga parts or elements ng SIM. The cover page or the title page, the copyright page, the table of contents, the introduction, the main body. Wherein in the main body, meron kang guide card, activity card, assessment card, enrichment card, answer key card, and the reference card. Yun ang mga elements niya. And of course, merong back cover. And another type of LRs na with the specifications, ang activity sheets or worksheet. Alam ko, almost all of you prepared this activity sheet. And some even are asking me, Ma'am, can we use our activity sheet as part of our, or form part of our document to submit in our master teacher application? So my answer is no. Kasi yung activity sheet, kung isa lang siya, if you want to have the credit for promotion, you have to complete your activity sheet in the 4 quarters, or yung by quarter ang iyong activity sheets compiled and nagiging worksheets na siya. So, kung activity sheets lang kasi, considered lang siya na one-time utilization lang in a specific class or a specific lesson. Pero if you want your activity sheets to be credited as part of your work in LR as writer, so you will complete the activity sheets across the quarter. So parang kompleto din siya. So meaning yung lahat ng competencies or lesson of the day, pwede we can consider now yung kung ang gagawin mo ay based on the milk, kasi milk lang man muna ang ating gina-consider ngayon. So parang ganun yung activity sheets, kumpletuhin mo para magiging worksheet, and then it can be considered for authorship. course, in the elements of your activity sheets, makita mo doon or you have to write the name of the learner kasi ito yung pinakamadaling gawan ng LR, no? Yung activity sheet kasi by topics ito per day. So pag of course, kasi activity sheet siya, so expected na maraming illustrations for K-Stage 1, maraming illustrations yan. Meron din tayong standards on the illustrations, which I will discuss later. Then, of course, the title, mayroon grade level in section D, then the title of the activity, and learning competencies with code, and the directions and the instructions, which should be clear, no? Dapat clear yung ating mga instruction. Then activity proper, which states there the procedure and the type questions, and the rubrics for scoring if your activity is more on performance tasks. So if applicable, you are going to write the scoring rubric, and of course the closure. Then an answer key may be included for teachers' use only in a separate sheet. So hindi siya katulad ng SLMs na yung self-learning module na self-check ang mga bata, andun din yung pwede din na i-separate mo yung answer key for the activity sheets or in case na worksheet yung gagawan mo. So I think naman with this type of LR on the activity sheet, everybody has done this, no? As a teacher kasi gumagawa tayo ng mga activity sheets. And aside from our assessment, yung 5-page assessment natin, gumagawa pa tayo ng extra activity sheet, especially yung nag-gap tayo sa delivery ng modules, PPT sheet po ang ginawa natin mga teacher. So sayang naman din yung ginagawa ninyo, kumplituhin nyo na yun at ipa-quality assure natin. At ngayon, alam nyo, with our training on how are we going to quality assure, then pwede na at the start ng iyong paper or yung manuscript mo, ay equality assure mo na din yung sarili mong work. And of course, later, another eye na naman ang magtingin sa iyong trabaho. Okay? So, proceed tayo. And the workbook. Ano pala ang kaibahan ng activity sheet at sa worksheet at saka workbook? So, yung sa workbook, follow siya sa competencies ng ating textbooks. Tapos may mga activity sheets siya. While the worksheet natin ay ang compilation yun siya ng lahat ng activities mo. Okay? So most likely, hindi naman masyadong parang malaki yung kaibahan, pero yun lang ang kanilang parang distinct feature. Na sa workbook, mas detail ito siya. So the elements of workbooks, my cover page, title page, copyright page, the table of contents, background information, content, enrichment, summary, references, and back cover. So for DepEd, we are using the Chicago Manual Style of Referencing. So as a writer and as a potential evaluators, you have to read about Chicago Manual Style of Referencing kasi yun ang ginagamit at approve natin sa DepEd. And of course, the back cover. So you see, kung makikita ninyo ang elements ng workbook, pareho siyang elements ng textbooks natin. But in the textbooks, meron kasing content or concept development yun siya. Tapos mas marami siyang explanation on certain topics and lesser lang yung mga activity. Pero dito sa workbook, wala na siyang masyadong explanation on the topic. Parang ano lang siya, parang cue lang ng specific topics. Tapos mas marami yung mga activities na nakasulat. So, yun ang kanyang difference. So, the modules. Ito na ang pinakasikat na LRs na ginawa ng mga teachers natin or kayo, mga naging writer kayo nito. So ang iba nasa evaluation stage pa, ang iba nag-start pa ng mga pagsusulat pero meron na tayong ginawa na self-learning modules. And very popular ito ang yung ginamit natin ngayon. So, mag-segue lang ako sa ating self-learning modules. Yung ating mga self-learning modules, originally, designed sana yun siya for our alternative delivery mode o yung mga learners at risk of dropping out at saka yung mga learners natin na who are absent from the class. But due to the pandemic, meron tayong mga assignments from each region, meron tayong assignments. So sa ating region, grade 3 tayo. So yung mga ibang region, may grade level din na assignment sa kanila. So with the grace of God, yung sa grade 3 natin ay nagawa talaga ng Region 11 na nakasubmit tayo. Nagpapasalamat tayo sa ating mga writers and evaluators na talagang natulungan tayo na masubmit tayo. Other regions also are trying their best to develop the assigned modules na supposedly para sa EDM, but it was used nationally in our intervention for the COVID-19 pandemic. So yung modules natin, iba-iba yung mga writers. So kung makikita ninyo, iba-iba yung mga writers. And supposedly, all parts of the modules will be printed. Pero dahil nga sa ating constraint in the budget of the printing for the lacking modules, so some schools opted to have that parang nagiging workbook na siya. Pero I am having this segue as kung maaari na hindi sana makuha yung ibang elements ng module kasi importante yun at lahat na page po ay talagang meron siyang silbi. Okay? So in our SLMs, meron tayong cover page. So pag locally develop ang ating SLMs, we can have our very own cover page. Hindi pwede na gamitin natin yung as instructed by the BLR. Hindi pwede na gagamitin natin yung cover page na ginamit natin ngayon sa ating mga classrooms. Issue yan na wala po tayong copyright na gamitin natin yan. So we have our copyright for the regional modules or SLMs. Meron tayong right to copy that one. So pwede yung regional. Or kung ayaw mo gamitin yung regional na yung cover page, you can develop your very own cover page. Okay? Para may distinction talaga na talagang galing sa inyo yan and it is a contextualized SLMs. So of course, the second element of the SLM or the modules to the learners, meron talaga siyang concrete na instruction to the learners at meron siyang introductory message for the targeted user of the module. Kaya sabi ko, importante din siya. So alam ko na nahihirapan tayo sa implementation natin for the SLMs, for the modular approach, but I know you are trying your best to really implement this as best as you can. And there are even teacher heroes na talagang nag-extend talaga ng extra mile for the implementation of modular. And I'm saying thank you po fellow teachers sa mga effort na ginawa ninyo. Alam nyo, hindi namin yan makikita sa lahat na ginawa ninyong effort in the division office, but nakikita po kayo ng Panginoon. Kaya aasa po kayo na i-bless kayo ni Lord dahil gumawa kayo ng okay? So, next element. Request ko lang yung ano ha, yung naka-on na microphone. I-off nyo muna yung microphone. Okay, thank you. So, the next element of our module is the title page. Inclusive po, doon sa title page is the copyright page and contains title, copyright, publisher, author. So, what is the module is all about? It contains the specific competencies and its code, the topic learning strand, subject area, objectives, and the content standards. So, meron talagang information na saan galing at anong mga specific competencies and code ang na-attack sa module na yon or coverage ng module na yun. And part din ng ating SLM, yung what you really know, what you already know, or the activating prior knowledge contains questions or activities that serve as pre-assessment. So yung makikita natin dito sa part na ito ay kung ano na yung alam na ng ating mga bata. So the lesson proper, so doon sa lesson proper merong review, the presentation and discussion or development of the lesson, the activities, the part wherein our children are involved, no, nagagawa sila, in abstraction or generalization, the applications of what they have learned, and of course, yun sa dahil nga ang ating modules are converted into a self-learning modules nowadays, so ano na siya, meron na siyang makikita mo na ang answer key. So, alam na natin na meron tayong challenge dyan kasi yung ating mga learners, some of them are relying to the answer key. But you know, alam ko na may ginawa kayong intervention sa field na talagang gumagawa kayo ng paraan na makikita ninyo yung learning talaga ng ating mga learners or mga kabataan na nag-aaral. At maraming salamat po sa effort na yan. Next is the contextualization matrix. So for the contextualization matrix, these are consolidation or compilation of the local heritage themes. Meron tayong objectives, content and materials, procedure, evaluation, assignment, and enrichment. So most likely, ito yung paborito na gagawin ng manuscript ng mga taga-araling panlipunan. No? Somewhat para siyang meron siyang kapareho sa reader, kaya lang specific kasi siya sa mga local heritage themes. So yun lang ang kanang kaibahan. So of course, the detailed lesson plan. So pwede kayong makagawa ng detailed lesson plan, and yung mga especially sa mga bagong mga guro, less than 2 years. So pwede kayong makagawa ng inyong learning resource. By the way, itong detailed lesson plan, hindi na ito siya parang learners material. Ito ay teachers material na ito. Pero of course, under the umbrella of learning resources pa din siya. So teachers material na ang ating detailed lesson plan. So meron tayong detailed lesson plan number, the learning area, the grade level, the quarter number, and the duration. So meron learning competencies, the key concepts, the learning objectives, of course adapted yung DO8, series of DO number 8, series of 2015 on our assessment, no? And content learning resources. So sa detailed lesson plan, pwede din tayo na mag-submit at mag-quality assure ng detailed lesson plan. So as I've said, hindi yan siya yung isang araw lang. So kapag gustong mag-submit ng detailed lesson plan, it should be a quarter output. Kumplituhin mo talaga yung buong quarter para maka credit ka for authorship. Okay. And of course, balik-balikin ko yan na hindi ka ma-credit yung authorship mo until such time na hindi ka makapasa doon sa evaluation and quality assurance procedures and process. Okay. Another, in addition to the elements of the detailed lesson plans, of course, yung procedures at saka activities, analysis, abstraction, application, assessment, assignment, or the wrap-up activities and reflection. So I don't have to discuss to you in details all our relative to lesson plans because I know we are masters of this learning resource, specifically the teacher resource on lesson. And another, ito yung gusto ko talagang gawin ng mga teacher at mga district heads at saka school heads or mga principals or even education program supervisors. Itong training and development resource package. Kasi ang mga supervisors or our district heads, part of our key results area, no, is to capacitate teachers on the different aspects of teaching learning. So pwede tayo makagawa ng compilation or a package of that training, of specific training needs, no, ng ating mga kaguruan. At saka of course, kung ikaw naman ay writer, you are still welcome to write this. Ang elements lang niya or composition ng package is the training design, the session guides, and the activity guides, handouts and support materials, and the monitoring and evaluation tools. Parang ganun, no, na ano lang siya, i-compile mo lahat yung mga training design mo with the session guides and activity guides, the handouts and the monitoring tool. So gagawa ka ngayon ng package. Sino ang recipient mo sa package? Is it the training and development resource package for school heads, or EPS, for teachers, or for alternative learning system, IMs, parang ganun. So basta, yun ang kanyang element, but we can make a training and development resource package for a specific group. So I'm challenging this group, no, na hopefully baka evaluate na din tayo ng training and development resource package. For you to have this type of LRs, talagang I would be very happy, no, na makagawa. Kasi ambition ko kasi ito na gagawa ako ng training and development resource package, of course with our HRD team. Kaya lang talagang hindi na kaya ng aking time. But for you to develop this kind of LRs, talagang magiging happy ako. Okay? So, the text-based learning resource. So we'll be talking about the paper size, the margins, the page size, the font style and size, art to text ratio, book elements, book cover elements. Okay. Di-discuss natin ito. Alam ko hindi natin ito basta-basta ma-memorize, no, in a glimpse, pero kaya i-share na talaga namin yung ating mga PowerPoint presentation for you to revisit. So I hope, no, na lahat ng mga participants, hindi lang tayo nag-a-attend ng training na i-ano lang natin, na ilalagay lang natin sa ating mga side, parang mga side memories lang or mga temporary memories. Kasi naman talagang trabaho po natin ito mga guro na gagawa tayo ng learning resources. So from time to time, we will really equip ourselves. No, hindi na tayo basta-basta lang na maging kontento lang tayo na okay, maghintay lang ako ng aking mga SLMs na i-deliver, hindi na ako gagawa. So please lang ha, na mga teachers na I hope you can really spend time to really revisit all these specifications and make your own, and surely you will be proud of yourself. No? Okay. So, pasensya na talaga sa segue dahil talagang gustong-gusto kong mag-share ng mga thoughts ko, no, on commitment and on, of course, our resiliency as teachers. Okay, next. So for our paper size, our official talaga na gamit is A4, no, A4. And then for landscape na presentation, specifically for LMs and TGs, kasi kung makikita ninyo yung mga learners materials natin, teacher's guide, medyo malapad siya, no? So custom siya, size 8.25 by 10.75 kapag portrait, and 10.75 by 8.25 if landscape. So that's the paper size pag ang learner's materials or ang teacher's guide ang ating isusulat. Pero pag sa SLMs and other learning resources, we can use the A4. So for margin, let us set the mirrored setting. So pag sinabi nating mirrored setting, diba yung mirror equal man ang kanyang size from top, bottom, inside, and outside. So ganun. Ganun din ang ating mga other LRs. From top, bottom, inside, and outside, it's 1 inch. And with a gutter of 0.5 for the LMs and TGs, and for the A4, walang gutter na required. Then, of course, when we look at this is the version of, or this is the term for printing na talaga ito. When we do our printing orders and jobs in the printing press, meron talaga tayong term, no? The verso for the left side or the left page, and then or the even number, and the recto for the right side, and or the odd numbered page. Okay, so kung makikita ninyo dyan sa ating materials, so 1 inch, no, ito, 1 inch siya, mirrored setting siya, and then of course, merong setting for the verso and the recto setting. Okay, so ito ay kapag landscape, same pa rin, maintain pa din yung ating specification. feedback box, and of course, the DepEd identifier. So, yan ang makikita natin sa ating cover page. Teka, hindi ko makita. Okay. So, ito siya. Alright. For the title page specifications, ito din yung ating sa title page. No, meron tayong mga specifications. So again, I am saying that you have to review this pag mag-evaluate na kayo. Hindi nyo naman ito ma-memorize in one presentation. So, next. Okay, so ito ay nasa ang copyright page ito. So sa copyright page, makikita mo ang book title, kung SLMs naman, ang SLMs. So pwede naman ito ma-edit. Then the copyright notice, ito yung ating official na copyright notice. Then itong name of copyright, change na ito, may edit at saka development team and the printers company kapag ipapaprinta po yan. Pero kapag hindi, ang printers company, ang ilalagay natin ang ating division. Okay, next. Okay, so for the copyright page specifications, meron din tayong mga standards. So for book title, the resource identifier, the ISBN, the copyright year, 11 to 12 point, flash left. So pag sinabi nating flash left, nakalinya po yan sa left. Pag sinabi nating flash right, nakalinya siya sa right. Term ito sa journalism, no? And pag sinabi nating rugged right, so rugged right is the term na hindi siya tupong, no? hindi siya pareho ang kanyang length of the sentences. So rugged. But in our copyright page, flash left po siya, meaning nakalinya po yan. Copyright notice, name of copyright holders, the development team, and the printers company, merong prescribed na po. So, next is our table of contents. So, makikita natin ang table of contents, headings and page number up to 3 levels. Yan. Of course, the table of contents specification, yung table of contents niya ay from K to 3, Century Gothic heading 16 to 18 point bold and 14 to 16 point bold. At saka ang alignment is center. But in the heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, depende, balik ka doon sa specification sa font style, no, na 12 to 14 or 11 to 12, depende sa grade level with that leader. So kanang tuldok-tuldok gani, o balik ka na kaning ito, this one, ang term ana sa LR, that leader. Okay. Next, for our introduction and overview, state the purpose of the LR, describe the scope of the learning resource or a brief explanation or the summary of the book or the LR, yung materials na ginawa. So unit title and the unit title image. Of course, in every image, it should be aligned with the title. So, yung illustrations natin are appropriate doon sa ating title. Okay, so the main body, kikita natin. Okay. So for the book cover art, must depict the title of its learning area, yung sinabi ko kanina. And for textbooks with more than one learning area, such as music, arts, PE, and health, the cover art should be able to show the montage of the different subject areas. A specific color is assigned for each subject area. So alam ko medyo familiar na kayo nito. For English, light blue. For Filipino, dark blue. For science, orange. For mathematics, green. Araling panlipunan, red. Edukasyon sa pagpakatao, brown. Music and arts, canary yellow. PE and health, light yellow. Mother tongue, white. And EPPTLE, violet. So, yan. Even sa ating mga SLMs at sa ating mga gagawin na LRs, let us follow this one. Kasi ito na yung naka-assign na color per grade level. Mas madali din kasi yung distinction natin in our ano. So, in the grade identifier, dito ito makikita na ang background niya ay ganun din ang background ng color according to the subject area. So, ito, mga samples na yan. Okay. So, dito, kung sa book, violator, itong hindi pinagbibili, yun ang tinatawag na violator. Grade level, book title, resource identifier. Ang resource identifier, ang ilalagay dito kung ito ay teacher's material or learner's materials. Yan. Then the language, then cover art, and depth identifier. Okay, so ito yung front book cover specifications natin na in details. You will look at this. And of course, ang spine elements. So ang tawag natin dito spine, para ding spinal column natin o spinal bone natin. So spine din. Grade level identifier, book title, the resource identifier, and language identifier. So sa grade level identifier, it should be in the top center, vertical alignment, with the background color, yung ano, kung ano yung color na assign ng grade level or subject area natin. Then the book title after grade level identifier and the resource identifier. Ito ay applicable ito kapag nag-evaluate tayo ng learner's materials or textbook. So alam nyo, segue ko na naman ito. Importante po na magkakaroon talaga tayo ng desire, no, to really get familiarized with this specifications. Kasi anytime po, all the participants, no, of this training will be recommended to national trainings on learning resource evaluators. In fact, I am very proud to announce to you that your speakers, no, and our facilitators and our output enabler, Dr. Elsie, Sir Toto, Dr. Marilu, are, and our resource speaker, Dr. Archie, Dr. Rex, are national and regional LREs. No? Na may K talaga yan sila. And they started with just a simple training like this, no, yung gikandak namin sa LR. So nag-start lang talaga sila na being the LR. Then because this training, this form part of your training, I will qualify you to become national and regional LR evaluators. Kasi dapat basic man na makatraining ka talaga ng basic. So you're going to apply. And then, of course, meron tayong selection and screening. And I am very proud na napakarami na po tayong mga national evaluators dito sa Davao de Oro. No? Sir Manuel Clarion is also a national evaluator. So, talagang nakaka-proud. So, do not take for granted all these inputs given to you because you will be needing this someday. And of course, you'll be needing this all the time whenever you are going to write your very own contextualized learning resource. May it be different kinds or yung magpili lang kayo doon sa mga text-based learning resource. Okay. So, ito yung feedback note at the back cover elements, and with the aerial and 12-point feedback. So other details, rounded rectangle, solid back 1.5, color contrasting the cover design, font color, contrast to background color, then center vertical alignment. Yun yung mga specifications niya. So I am giving this to you because as the LRE, you will be exposed to this. And this particular points or input will be utilized by you when you evaluate the layout aspect of the LRs na ibibigay sa atin or i-submit for QA. Okay, so ito yung back over. Okay, so next, that ends the first topic of the specifications. Then I will be giving you the social content guideline in making our LRs. So marami din tayong role dito at babantayan sa social content guidelines. Well, the social content guidelines is part of the content evaluation. So ang copyright, social content, part yan ng content evaluation. Kasi discuss yan ni Sir Archie later, no? Meron lang tayong tatlong evaluation sa ating mga LRs. Content evaluation, layout evaluation, and the language evaluation. So this time, we will have the guidelines on the treatment of social content in the text and art of LRs. So kasi pag hindi din tayo papasa sa social content, major yun na revision. So parang Venus Ra lang ang ating peg, no, na major talaga na revision. And even kasi before yung very strict yung quality assurance kapag hindi talaga papasa sa social content, ano talaga yan siya, replacement or hindi talaga yan siya papasa. But this time, we will also credit the effort of the writers. So pag social content na ang problema, ipapa-change lang yung content na yun na non-compliant sa social content, then saka para ma-improve at makapasa na later yung ano. So as I'm saying, this is very important as part of the content evaluation because the social content guidelines is the soul of our LR. No, it is the conscience of our LR. No, na para makita natin yung ano para ang diferensya, no, ng ating LR. Okay, so social content refers to the themes or topics for which the DepEd prescribes certain guidelines when these themes or topics are included or referred to in lessons in the learning resources. So, anchored to the three core values of DepEd, makatao, makadiyos, makakalikor. Makatao, makadiyos, makakalikasan, makabansa. Anchored to that, no, core values. Then, the social content or the themes or topics in DepEd LRs must be compliant to this. No, na hindi talaga, although there are topics na talagang in at talagang gusto nating pag-usapan, pero pag hindi naman siya under our criteria or the themes for DepEd LRs, hindi talaga yan siya pwede. Kaya parang may question din ako na yung mga errors on the social media na pinapost na merong mga social content guidelines, baka hindi po yun na-check talaga ng mga learning resource evaluators. So as an evaluators, this is a very important skill for you, no, to be very nitty-gritty on this aspect ng ating social content guidelines. Okay. So, for the social content themes or topics, meron tayong 9, no? Na parang the development and the support to the topics on the Filipino learner, the Filipino nation and Philippine society, citizenship and social responsibility, individuals and social identities, social institution, gender, media, technology and communication, health and safety, and environment. So ito yun, isa-isahin natin ito. Now, to support the teaching learning process, learning resources should be developed so they contain accurate, appropriate, and timely learning area content and reflect correct and relevant social content. The BLR social content guidelines are the important tool to ensure that learning resources veer away from social stereotypes, so kaya nato ang mga social stereotypes, and help develop in learners desirable values for nationalism, justice, moral uprightness, inclusivity, understanding, and compassion, among others. So as I've said, align siya ng ating DepEd core values. Kasi ang ating departamento naman po, mga kaguro ko, ay talagang value-laden ang ating goal, no, in teaching our learners. Kasi nga, Department of Education tayo. So we should be the institution or the department na talagang tutulong na ma-develop natin ang desirable values on nationalism, justice, moral uprightness, inclusivity, understanding, and compassion among others. So if and when our materials is non-compliant to this aspect, of course, as an evaluator, you have to be very strict of not letting it pass into your eyes. No? You will really cross that for deletion or enhancement or modification. Okay. So, sinabi ko na ito kanina, concordian siya sa ating core values. So, for individuals and social identities, so first topic ito, we have to depict the ethnic, physical, mental, religious, cultural, and socio-economic diversity of individuals and their circumstances in society and promote sensitivity to and respect for the dignity and equal treatment of all. So, yan. Kung gagawa tayo ng materials, kung mag-depict tayo ng ethnicity or yung physical, yung sa individual aspect on social identities, dapat sensitive tayo na ang ating materials ay may respect for the dignity and equal treatment of all. Meaning, we will not utilize this ethnicity and social identities as laughing stock, no, in our materials. So, we must be very careful. And even in the dress or clothing ng ating mga individuals and social identities, no, careful din tayo na tama yung pagka-illustrate na yung sa Islam na dress code nila, Mansaka dress code at saka yung Mandaya dress code na tama kasi part po yan ng area na babantayan ng isang evaluator. So, as an evaluator, you have to read, and read. So, hindi pwede yan na mag-depend ka lang sa iyong prior learning. No? If you are not that master to the topic in the LRs that you are evaluating, you have to read. You have to extend some reading, some research kung tama ba yung sinulat o na-illustrate. So, for under Filipino nation and Philippine society, include foreign products and values only as needed and appropriate to the competencies being covered. Meaning, we can use if it is part of the lesson or halimbawa yung lesson sa Araling Panlipunan na talking about foreign practices, so pwede siya na makagamit tayo ng maka-mention tayo in our LRs, but not as comparison to our practice as Filipino and our values. So when included, these foreign practices must be featured in ways that do not prejudice Philippine products, practices, and values. Example, gina-compare na mas magaling yung product ng US kaysa product ng Philippines, hindi din yun maganda. Part din yun ng ating social content na titingnan natin. We will mention them. We can mention them in appropriate when needed in an appropriate competencies, but we will not mention them just to prejudice or to make our Philippine products or our practices and values bad and small. Parang no? So yan. Depict expression of Philippine culture, technologies, invention, games, dance, songs, literature, dress, food, festival, celebration, practices, customs, and other guided by the protocols for sensitivity such as DO51 series of 2014. Meron po tayong department order na naka-detail talaga doon yung culture sensitivity and how we're going to treat the society under each culture. So, basa tayo, no? Ano ang ating mga dapat bantayan as evaluators. And promote respect for the rights of the different sectors of the society. So, of course. And promote in learners a positive attitude toward persons with disability. In all aspects of life, highlight the PWD's abilities, not their impairment. Instead of portraying their disabilities, focus on their strength and their triumphs in day-to-day life, such as their professional accomplishment and educational achievements. So parang 'di ba, hindi natin gagawing katawa-tawa ang ating mga kapatid na with disabilities or may limitations. Part po 'yan ng ating social responsibility, no? Na hindi tayo mapaghusga sa ating kapwa. Dahil magpasalamat tayo na hindi tayo isa sa kanila at binigyan tayo ng Panginoon ng isang maganda at matiwasay na pangangatawan. At because it's our social responsibility, therefore we will also respect their incapacities and their disabilities and highlight their abilities instead of their disability. So do not use the impairments of the PWDs in funny joke stories or in jokes, and do not use them as subjects of caricature, and do not label them as beggars or as liabilities to society. So alam nyo, tayo mga evaluators tayo ng DepEd. Learning resource evaluators tayo ng DepEd. Pero ang media, the social media ay sobra pa sila sa evaluators. Talagang makikita nila in details yung mga gaps na nagawa natin. Kaya as an evaluator, we have to put this in our heart and mind na ang social content. No? Kaya dito talaga sa social content na nangyayari ang mga hindi magandang pangyayari. Kapag hindi natin ito na subaybayan at hindi natin na-check as evaluators. These are some of the examples. Magpapakita ako ng mga examples of the mga areas for social content. Example nito, isang reading book na si Pilantod. Credit itong mga pictures na ito, I credit ito sa presentation ng DLR during our training. And of course, sa writer, no, kinikilala ko din at ang nagguhit nito. This is for the purpose of educational use and not to give bad credits to the author. Okay. So si Pilantod, ang asong tatlo ang tuhod. So itong story naman nito ay despite the incapacity o pilantod na 3 ang tuhod, may maganda siyang nagawa. Tapos, ito yung next. Ang content nitong sa pilantod, i-share ko din sa inyo for purpose of educational purposes na ipapa-feel ko, ipapa-judge ko sa inyo yung masasabi ninyo sa content. Si pilantod ang asong 3 ang tuhod, putol ang isang paa, ang asong si pilantod ay pinagtatawanan, tinutukso at pinandidirihan ng mga bata. Pinakita sa kanya ni King ang kaibigan niyang kalabaw ang iba't ibang uri ng lupitan ng mga tao sa hayop. Tuluyan kayang kamuhian ni pilantod ang mga tao, paano siya patutunayan ng kulang man ang mga paa niya, ang aso ay siya pa ring pinakamatalik na kaibigan ng tao. So, yan. Ito ay isang text doon sa story na pwede nating i-insert natin yung ating kaalaman sa social content guideline. Saan dyan ang mga words na hindi maganda? Na kung ikaw ay isang author or ikaw isang author na nagawa, first talaga ikaw ang mag-consider. Kapag ikaw naman si evaluator, i-consider mo naman. So, kung ikaw si author, kung ikaw si evaluator, pwede mo bang i-change mo yung story into another direction? So, kapag ikaw naman ay si evaluator, hindi basta-basta na magsabi ka lang na change your story or modify your story. Magawa ka din yun. Doon isulat mo ang exact na gusto mong mangyayari. O, na ano yung direction ng story. So, sulat mo yun. Then, of course, i-consider yan ni writer. Kapag hindi naman si writer aminado sa iyong evaluation, then meron din tayong development team na yun ang role ng ating mga education program supervisors to settle kung ano talaga ang correct. So of course, the decision will be based on the knowledge of the social content guidelines. Another example. So feature role models who come from different places, historical periods, sociocultural context, gender, abilities, and ages. They must be exceptional and acknowledge accomplishment or virtue regardless of their ethnic, cultural, political origin, or affiliation. Example, ang ibig sabihin nito, yung different places, kung gusto mo mag-feature ng mga places or yung place na example kung saan noun ang iyong lesson, o mga pangalan ng lugar, so of course, i-diverse mo din yung example mo na iba-ibang places, hindi mo i-exclusive. Unless na yung lesson mo ay in Araling Panlipunan na focus talaga on specific place. Hindi naman, error din naman yun na nagsasalita ka ng province of Davao de Oro, tapos lalagyan mo ng mga pictures sa Davao City at Davao or Samar, parang gano'n. So, social content is somewhat parang the soul, the conscience, the practicality of our learning resource. So kung hindi din pwede na kung mag-feature ka ng mga abilities, puros lang mga matanda, puros lang mga bata, o puros lang mga Ilonggo like me or mga Ilocano, parang ganun. So you have to have the balance of your role model. So kapag role modeling ang gi-feature mo in your LRs. Avoid views or opinions that highlight stereotypes and encourage cultural, moral, and social insensitivities against particular social classes, gender groups, political affiliation, cultural, or religious groups. So let us treat fairly all the And let us be all the group or the social aspects of our cultural heritage or our brothers and sisters na may nabilong sa social class, gender, political affiliation. Let us treat them fairly in our LRs. Example, okay, so these are examples. Treasury of moral stories. Mga ano ito? Mga sample ng children's treasury of moral story. Okay. Okay. Isa dito na nakita doon sa treasury ng moral story, i-share ko din ito sa inyo. Then, you try to reflect, you try to think also in some consideration of the moral values. Example, the man and his two sweethearts. A man whose hair was turning gray had two sweethearts, an old woman and a young one. The elder didn't like having him look so much younger than herself. So whenever he came to see her, she pulled the dark hairs out of his head to make him look old. The younger didn't like him to look older than herself and pulled out the gray hairs to make him look young. Between them, they left not hair in his head, and he became perfectly bald. Then he who gives in to others once will have no principles of his own. So yun ang article dito. So ano makikita ninyo diyan na hindi siya compliant or may social content problem siya. Okay, so remember our values, yung how we treat individuals. So yun lang po ang ano. These are just samples na tinitingnan natin. Okay, next. Avoid sexist language, bias, prejudice, and stereotyping of various genders in the depiction of behaviors, home and family, roles, professions, occupations, and contributions to society. Example, ito. Isang article na sample, nalilimutan ko na nga palang sabihin, hinahawakan din kami at inuusyoso ni Kuya Joey. Si Kuya Joey ang sumunod kay Ate Pichi. Si Kuya Joey muna bago si Asel. Pero hindi mahilig si Kuya Joey sa pagkakarga sa amin. Ang lagi niyang pinatatakbo ay ang mga matchbox niya at saka ang tren na di baterya. Kay Kuya Eric naman ang mga matchbox. Si Kuya Eric ang pinakamatanda sa kanilang lahat. Mahilig naman yun sa pagkanta. Ayun, naririnig ko na naman ang pagkanta niya. Di mic pa kasi. Minsan, sinasakay kami ni Kuya Joey sa kanyang tren. Tawa siya ng tawa kapag nahuhulog kami sa kanyang tren dahil malalaki na kami para sa tren niya. Ate Mabel, tawag ni Ate Teresa, pwede pa ba si Pinky na pinag-usapan nila ako ngayon? Yan, bukas na ang tainga ko. Tingnan natin, gusto kong binibideo ako sa Sabado kasama siya ng mga bago kong stock toys. First doll si Pinky na naging paborito ko pa. Corny mo naman ate, sabi ni Ate Pichi, nagkatawanan sila. So, you see, kikita natin yung words dyan na parang mga sexiest language, no? Mga double meaning. So, hindi din yan siya healthy sa ating mga LRs. So, especially kung gagawa tayo ng reader o mag-compile tayo ng reader o yung mga matrix, heritage matrix, parang careful din tayo sa mga areas na ganito. Another, Unlike most Filipinos, she has curly hair that makes her more beautiful. She looks like a mestiza with her pointed nose and a whiter fair skin. So, diba? Parang na-demean ang ating pagka-Filipino, no? Na mas maganda talaga yung mga mestiza with pointed nose and whiter fair skin. So, parang, ayan. Ito ay nakukuha din ito sa social media, no, na pinamagatang DepEd approved textbooks. Kaya need more reviews. So hindi na kasi natin makukuha pa kasi sometimes pag sinabing books, textbooks, talagang yan sa DepEd yan, pero hindi naman po lahat na may errors ay galing sa DepEd. Some are from private writers and publishers also. Yun po ang katotohanan. Okay, ito. Another. Sa gisag ng kainaan, puri ng kayamanan, hinhi ng katangian at ganda ng puhunan. Buhay na hiram lamang, pinagbulan ng sangkatauhan. Sagot. Bugtong ito. So, marami ding nagsabi na hindi ko masagutan ang bugtong na ito. Hindi siya appropriate. DepEd ito daw. So, parang ito yung sinabi ko sa inyo na ang social media ay talagang mas matindi pa ang kanilang observations kaysa mga evaluators. I'm not saying this is ours. This is just an example, courtesy to the presentation of the BLR for purpose of educational purpose lang muna, or training for the LRE. Okay. So show respect for different family patterns. Example, nuclear, extended, single parent with two parents. So, kung magbigay naman ng mga examples na ganyan, no, balance din yun na hindi talaga natin i-defect na pag family, mama, papa, anak lang at isang lalaki. So, pwede din itong tinatawag natin na nuclear family, kung saan sila lahat, kami, mga nuclear family kami, we love to be with each other. So meron ding mga single parent, may two parents. So, ito, babantayan natin ito na yung ating materials ay may respect talaga sa different family patterns. Example, ito ay isang award-winning na first prize ito sa Maikling Kwentong Pambata. Ang ikaklit sa aming tahanan. So, ito yung family niya. Meron siyang isa din ito sa example na although the topic is really in times, maraming ng ganito na family, pero in our social content guidelines as values and other, yung ating baka Diyos, makatao, makalikasan, makakapwa, at the nine themes of our social content, medyo sensitibo po ito siya. So, Kaklit in Our Garden is a story of a child na adopted by two lesbians. Ganito ang story. So, isa din yan siya. Titingnan natin talaga kung appropriate ba yung topic, although talagang nangyayari, kung appropriate pa sa iyong lesson or sa iyong story o sa iyong LRs. Another example, so yung mga commercial, hindi na kung magawa tayo sa ating illustrations, hindi natin gagamitin ang kanilang mga brand names kasi wala tayong copyright to do that. At wala tayong approval from the company or from a corporate na pwede nating gagamitin. So, under yan sa social institution and commercial entities. So, kung mag-isgot ka og notes lang, notebook, notes lang. Wala talagang brand. Okay? So, unless na binigyan ka talaga ng approval of a certain company na ipagamit, so attach yun siya. Tapos, in connection to this, part kasi ng ating learning learning evaluation is meron tayong third-party content summary. No? So lahat yung ginamit mo o kinuha mo sa ibang resources, isusulat mo yan doon sa ating inventory. Kung anong page, kung ilang text ang ginamit mo, kung ano ang ginamit mo na mga items na para hindi tayo makakasuhan ng copyright law or infringement. So i-discuss yan ni Sir Archie in details. So, tulad nito, wish ko lang makita ka, wizard. So, ito ay picture ng, ano ito? Ng Disneyland. Ano ito? Ay, nalimutan ko, nag-senior moment na naman ako. Very popular ito sa Laguna. So, hindi, kahit na ginamit niya ito na parang appropriate sa kanyang title, pero very enchanted kingdom pala. So hindi naman tayo kung hindi ka naman nabigyan ng authority ng Enchanted Kingdom to use their icon or their logos, we should not use the materials. Okay. So avoid differentiating either explicitly or implicitly between the capabilities of males and females. So na ano mo talaga na kapag nurse, babae, kapag doktor, lalaki, kapag teacher, babae, i-balance mo yun. No? Hindi is kasi stereotyping po yan. So, included din ang gender sa ating mga considerations. Okay. So, ito yung mga samples na materials. So portray gender and sexual diversity in a respectful manner using the right-based approach. So, limbawa dito ito kasi ang mama magmora jud magbantay sa mga bata. Human ang batang babae manika ra gyud iyang gidulaan, ang batang lalaki eroplano na gani. That's stereotyping. So portray gender, tapos ko na ito. Another sample materials, ang bonggang-bonggang batang Becky. So it's all yours to comment. It's all yours to reflect on what social content guidelines ang pwede natin na i-consider in this figure. Okay, never depict profession as being prepared by certain gender. Sinabi ko na yan kanina na i-stereotype mo yung profession. Promote healthy and safety standards precautions. So ang ating mga materials must see to it that kapag ito ay mga performance tasks, meron talagang safety standards and precautions. Even in our illustrations, we will also consider that one. Okay. So another example. One day, Mother and Father Carabao look for their son, Islau. They look for him here and there and hardly him found. For Islau, knowing they would tell him to take a bath, silently hid. There he laid his handsome self in a sack under his bed. And samples here. Stereotyping. Okay, so ito, sa mga animals na mga mga figures ng animals, no, how we treat animals, kasama po yan. Sa isang malaking baryo, may isang baryo na ubod ng linis, masisipag at masasaya ang mga tao rito, lahat sila ay laging naglilinis, lahat sila ay laging nagwawalis. Kaya tinawag po silang baryo walis. Yun. Social content. So, yung kanina na pinakita ko, encourage humane treatment and respect for all life forms. So, hindi din tayo papatay o papakita ng inhumane treatment sa ating mga materials. One of the example na i-share ko lang sa inyo. Yun siya, hindi kasi siya Filipino or English, no? Parang mother tongue siya na LRs. Tapos, syempre as an illustrator, as an evaluator, hindi tayo lahat speaker ng mother tongue na yon or yung language na yon. So ang nangyayari, na-translate ko. So pag translate ko, I found out na itatapon pala yung isang sisiw sa gitna ng dagat. So as evaluator also, kung magkakaroon tayo ng opportunity to evaluate such kind, so dapat ipa-translate natin talaga ni writer, no, para makikita natin na bawal ito sa social content, kasi sa social content guidelines like in the science mga SIP, hindi po tayo magpapakita ng brutality on animals. Okay. So that ends the social content guidelines of our LRs and our considerations for future evaluations. Okay, so tinutulungan ako dito sa aking mga chat box. I-recognize ko muna yung mga senior moments ko. From Roxanne, pinagtatawanan ang term. From Mary Flor, pinagdidirihan. From Elsie, Enchanted Kingdom po, from Roxanne. Maraming salamat. Okay. So, talagang yan po talaga ang challenge, no? Na pag medyo magkakaedad ka, you lose the terms and and some of the So thank you everyone for listening and for joining us in my session on LR specifications and social content guidelines. Thank you so much and magandang buhay, good morning to everyone, and I will now give the floor to my ihada, Dr. Elsie.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lim, for that very comprehensive discussion of our input one that is on learning resource standards and specifications. So at this juncture, we shall now have the open forum. So this is where our participants can raise their questions, clarifications, and even insights. So to our participants, please do not hesitate to bring it to our attention by typing it in our comment or chat box. So we shall attend to that at this very moment. That's why we are encouraging you to type in our chat box your questions, or you can click the raise hand icon so that we can appropriately recognize you. Sige po, to our participants, kindly comment in our chat box your questions po, since we have Dr. Lim to address those queries and clarifications. So as mentioned by Dr. Lim earlier, our participants will be required to submit an output for this training. So these outputs will be presented in the third day. So presenters will be randomly selected po so as to give everyone equal chances. The details of how this will be carried out will be discussed this afternoon by Sir Archie, one of our speakers. So the comments that we have here, Ma'am Arlene, are actually congratulatory messages rather than questions. So we have here one question from Ma'am Roxanne. Ask lang po about writing activity sheets or worksheet po. One activity lang po ba in one competency or more than one? That's from Ma'am Roxanne po, Ma'am Arlene.
Okay, so thank you, Rox, for that question. No, for activity sheets, it is very clear that we are preparing LRs for specific competencies. So we are also compliant to the item of parang BLR standards din sa ADM standards of the item. So For K to 3, 5 items lang ang activity, but you can have 1 or 2 activities kasi parang 1 to 2 pages lang siya. And you can prepare 2, pero ang item niya ay K-stage 3 siya, and up to 5 items ka lang. So, ana lang siya, Rox. Okay?
I hope that addressed the question of Ma'am Roxanne. We also have here another question, Ma'am Arlene. This is from Ma'am Mary Jake. Ma'am, is it possible that a material will be written by a couple or more writers po for a single material?
Yes. It is possible kung possibility ang pag-uusapan natin. So, pwede naman na parang team kayo na magsulat kung gusto ninyo. However, ito din yung ano niya, yung parang disadvantage niya kasi if we will utilize that for promotion, i-divide po sa inyong lahat na writer ang points. Example, kapag 10 points lang naman ang authorship, no, that's 10 points. And then 5 kayo na nagsulat sa SLMs. So tag 2 points na lang kayo. Parang ganun. So parang gina-encourage talaga na for you to earn the authorship, no, individual talaga mag-prepare. Parang ganun po siya, Ma'am Mary Jake, ang scenario. But for the possibility, pwede naman kayo na magtulong-tulong kayo lahat. Especially kung gagawa kayo ng worksheet, it's a compilation of the activity sheet. So dahil quarter nga yung ating gusto na for the credit, so magtulong-tulong pwede, pero ganun ang kanyang disadvantage. Not disadvantage, pero parang the consequence na kasi marami kayo, hindi din siya pwede i-credit sa isa, i-credit siya sa lahat. Okay?
Thank you for clarifying that, Ma'am Arlene. And also, Ma'am Mary is also thankful for that answer. She acknowledged na subdivided daw ang points. So thank you very much for raising that query, Ma'am Mary Jake. To Sir Christopher Vista, he is asking for an e-copy of the details of the discussion. So as mentioned, Sir Tupe, the materials that will be used by our speakers for the entire duration of the training will be accessible via a Google Drive link that will be provided by the technical working group po. Okay?
Yes.
Would there be other questions from our participants? I'm not quite sure if there are questions raised in our YouTube channel and that of our Facebook page. Maybe our colleagues in the technical department can prompt us on that. But I think parang wala because there's no prompt from our technical with regards to questions coming from other teachers. Sige po, this is the high time or this is the most opportunate time wherein you can address your queries kasi first hand na masasagot ni Ma'am Arlene yung queries niyo with regards to our first input po.
Okay, siguro walang nagtanong kung mabibigyan ba sila ng certificate nasa YouTube at sa Facebook Live sila. So ako na lang ang magsagot, no? I really wanted to have the maximum participation on this training by all teachers. So pwede po na Ma'am Elsie will give you the details yata or merong mga process later kung saan ninyo ma-access yung ating my first workshop. So yung lahat na workshop na ibibigay namin, you can answer all of them, no? Tatlo lang naman, isa sa akin, isa kay Sir Archie, isa kay Sir Rex, and then you have to submit that one. Sino ba ang magbibigay sa TWG na instruction on what? I think Sir Michael Dandan can give us also later, no, kung ano ang procedure ng gagawin natin for the workshop output. And then upon completion of this output, talaga mag-enjoy kayo sa mga tools at saka sa mga workshop materials. So I know you will enjoy it and kaya gawin nyo and then you have to submit. And be sure to have the registration in our provided registration link because that registration link or mga registrants in the registration link will surely receive the certificate of participation in hard copy and in e-copy, no? Kasi i-check pa namin yung inyong mga output. So pag-confirm na talagang nakapagtapos kayo sa tatlong output, then we will surely give you the certificate of participation. And of course, please be diligent enough to really answer the link provided by the DWG. And ano pa, yung inyo palang ay Diyos ko, kaning meron tayong drawing of lots, no, out of the registrants kung sino yung mag-present ng inyong output. So everybody will be given the chance to showcase your output on the third day. Okay. So talagang hindi lang may draw lot sa parapol ang ating mga Teachers Day, meron ding parapol ang LR. Pero yung mabunot ay talagang napakalaki na mag-share ng kanyang output results na parang tatlo yata from tatlo for my topic and another 3 for the topics of Sir Rex and Sir Archie. So can we prepare fact sheets and activity? And may nabasa pa ako dito, Ma'am Els.
Yes po, Ma'am Arlene.
O sige. This Saturday ba? Sige, Ma'am Noraida, may instruction po later po paano natin i-submit yung output ninyo. Okay, another question from Myra. Mga ano ko man ito, mga evaluators ko naman ito. Can we prepare fact sheets and activity sheets in lieu of a module na hindi available po? Yes po, ma'am. And we can even utilize our textbooks, available textbooks for that matter. Okay. Obama share yung registration. Share, Ma'am Cherry, kindly share the registration link sa ating YouTube channel, sa chat box na lang, at dito din sa ating chat box sa panelist at saka dito sa Zoom.
Ma'am Arlene, there's actually a question here from Ma'am Mary. She's asking if okay daw po ba to take an illustrator. Siguro what she was trying to say is the illustrator is coming from a private institution and not connected with DepEd po.
Okay lang po. Wala namang problema, walang restriction. Kung pwede nga kayo, kung you are also a good illustrator, you can illustrate your own materials. Anyway, subject naman yan for quality assurance. Okay.
There's also another question, Ma'am Arlene. This is coming from Ma'am Roxanne. She's asking if we have a chance po to make a SIM, do we need to focus lang on the least learned competency?
The purpose of the SIM is interventions. Kaya focus lang talaga tayo doon sa mga difficult competencies. Kasi support yun siya eh. Sayang din naman yung effort ninyo na nagagawa pa kayo sa mga very easy na competencies. So doon na lang tayo focus doon. Diba ikaw, makuha mo man yun sa as a subject area teacher at makita mo, alam nyo muna yun yung mga least competencies mo. So pwede ka makagawa talaga ng sariling version of your intervention through the SIM. Okay.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Arlene. I guess there are no more questions here from our chat box. Parang wala na. Everything has been addressed na siguro. No more.
Hindi na po magre-register yung naka-register na last Monday. So isang beses lang po ang registration. Or else, marami ang chances mo na mabukod ka for the output. Okay? Hindi naman din masama kung naka-register ka anyway. Makita lang naman namin yung duplication. Pero ano nga, yun nga. No? So,
more chances of winning.
More chances of winning as the presenter of the output. Kasi gagamit tayo ng digital or yung si Sir Michael na later ang mag-discuss or si Ma'am Elsie. Okay, so it's 11:32.
Yes po. So I think there are no more questions here, Ma'am Arlene. The technical working group has already sent the link for the attendance for the morning session. And of course, we'd like to thank Ma'am Arlene for really responding to the queries of our participants and more so for comprehensively discussing her topic. Thank you very much. Again, time check, it's already 32 minutes past the hour of 11. So I think there are no more announcements for this morning session in preparation for this afternoon. We'll be using the same Zoom meeting link and we'll still be streaming live in our Facebook page and in our official YouTube channel. So, again, please do not forget to accomplish our attendance links po. Since there are no more queries and clarifications regarding our first input for this 3-day virtual training, I guess this now ends our morning session and we shall see each other again in the same link at exactly 1 o'clock p.m. See you all, dear teachers, this afternoon.
Thank you, Ma'am Elsie. So, ano na lang for those who ask questions for the FB Live link and the YouTube, Ma'am Leah or Ma'am Cherry or Sir Michael, kindly post it here na lang po.
Copy that, Ma'am Arlene.